Yes, I think it's probably the most feared book of the scripture and one of the most misunderstood. People love to read the Bible. When it comes to Revelation, they get scared because the myth, the understanding is that it is a book that is difficult to understand, full of symbols that are weird, and somehow it's a mysterious book that only a few initiated ones can appreciate. That's a good question, because if we think it was a book, then we have an audience out there that John is writing to. But if we recognize it's a letter, immediately it begins to peel away a lot of the misunderstanding. Because a letter means I know who I'm sending it to. It's a specific people with a specific condition and situation that I am addressing. So when we look at Revelation, we must recognize it is addressing certain issues that were relevant to the people to whom he sent it. So it is not a book, just a writing of some great prophet just writing for everybody. It was a letter specifically sent to the 7 churches of Asia to deal with their situation. And from there, it helps us today as we look at God's hand moving in their lives and also towards the end. Actually, it was a single letter that was a circuit letter, meaning it would be read in this church, then in that church, and then in that church. So the same letter would travel around to the different churches. Practically no prophecy, especially apocalyptic prophecy. By apocalyptic, we mean prophecies that relate to the end of time. God revealing what will happen in the end of time. Is a play-by-play. It is meant to give broad brushstrokes, directional guidance, and as it were, signposts along the ages so that God's people will know all things are still happening within God's ambit, within God's purview. So those of us who look to Revelation to predict what will happen after this and what will happen will be misguided. Most prophecies can be applied more than once, like Jesus' prophecy in Matthew 24, which, by the way, is apocalyptic as well, is dealing with the present situation, the destruction of Jerusalem there and then for those who live, the contemporaries. But it was also given a vision of what will happen in the end. So it has a double application. So Revelation is dealing with what it is. If we look in Revelation, in chapter 2, when he's speaking to the churches, he says the things that are and that will come. So John is both addressing the contemporary situation and also throwing his vision into the future as to what will happen to God's people throughout the ages. It's right there in chapter 1, verse 1, the revelation of Jesus Christ. If we only see in Revelation beasts and dragons and signs and symbols and stuff, we have missed the thrust of the book. The second thing is, it's a revelation. The word revelation comes from the Greek term apocalypsis, meaning to remove the veil, to reveal. So obviously God wants us to understand this book. And he wants us to understand how Jesus Christ fits into every scenario throughout the ages. One of the main problems with apocalyptic prophecy is when people seek to interpret the scripture by present reality. So for instance, Ronald Reagan's name came out at 666. Obama's name came out at 666. Then with the new computer chip technology where they will implant in your hand and stuff your information, people see that look 666. The problem with interpreting the scripture by present reality is that we are forcing the scripture to say what it may not be saying. So what we need to do is to understand what the scripture is saying and then interpret reality by what the scripture says. What we have done is to look at situations today and look in Revelation and see, this is what it fits. No. As the prophecies are unfolding, because we understand the message of the prophecy, we begin to recognize, hear the word, recognize what has happened. Prophecy is only fully understood when it has become history. No one standing before prophecy is fulfilled knows exactly what it would look like. And if you look at the scripture, you would realize that it was usually after things happened. The prophets, the disciples, or whoever it was would look back and say, oh, this is what was meant. This is what the prophet meant. And that is the danger of us today, trying to pinpoint events as being prophetic even before they happen, because we really don't know what it would be like. Actually, we believe it was the Gospel of John that was the last book written. But Revelation was written like about 95 AD. We're talking about, let's say, almost 60 years after Jesus Christ had died and resurrected. It was sent to the churches because, remember, John was on Patmos in exile. Tradition says they tried to boil him in oil. Why? For preaching the gospel. And the church had gone through great persecution by Nero. People were discouraged, and more trouble was to come. We believe that Domitian, the emperor, his persecution was close to be happening. The book of Smyrna, the church of Smyrna, refers to this persecution. So God sends a message to John so that the churches would understand what was happening and they would not be discouraged. Hebrews and Revelation are companion books in that both of them are addressing Christians who are discouraged by the fact that Christianity has put them into great pressure and persecution. There seem to be no glorious glorious attachments to Christianity. And so Hebrews is saying, no, you have a better priest, a better sanctuary, a better city, a better hope, a better everything. And Revelation is saying something similar. Don't look at what's happening. Look at what is about to happen when Jesus Christ conquers all. We are not only debunking. It is one thing to say what the book of Revelation isn't or isn't about. It's another thing to help people understand what it is about, to help them appreciate the lessons in it. So in this series of studies, in these episodes that are coming, we shall be going through the book of Revelation and giving principles and tools wherewith any reader can appreciate the great messages of Revelation. So stick with us, because you will find this is a tremendous, glorious, exciting book. And when you understand its message, it can be life-changing.